You're listening to the Putting Heads on Beds podcast, episode 4.
Welcome to the Putting Heads on Beds podcast, where through education, inspiration, and motivation, we help you to boost bookings and transform your business. And now, your host, Stephanie Thomas.
Hello, it's Stephanie here, and thank you once again for joining me. It's been a really exciting week for me this week, as I've seen the launch of a client's brand new website. Sue and I have been working on her website for about 3 months now, together with the website designers, and the site actually went live 48 hours ago. Now, as many of you know, the launch of a new website is quite an event, and first impressions are so important. And I know that Sue's going to get a serious boost in bookings through her new site. And I can't wait to see the results and the stats when we start analysing them. The launch of the new site got me thinking a bit this week, because not everyone can afford to have a brand new website created in design like Sue. So it got me thinking that it would be quite good to share some of my strategies and secrets to help you ensure that your website seriously boosts bookings. And so in today's episode, that's exactly what I'm going to do. Your website is one of your most important marketing assets. It sits at the heart of your online marketing activities, and the internet enables you to advertise your business through your website on a local, a national and an international field, or from one location. It provides potential guests with an immediate glimpse into what you have to offer. And it's your opportunity to show them how you are different to your competitors. It also enables you to capture their attention and entice them into finding out more about you, as well as convincing them to actually make a booking. It's vital that your website accurately portrays your business and differentiates you from your competitors. Now, before I get really started, I'd just like to tell you a little bit more about what I'm going to cover today and what I'm not. What I'm not going to do today is talk to you about the look of your website. I'll leave all that to your website designer. However, one thing I will say is that I hope you have invested in a good website, one produced by a good designer, because the success of your business really hinges on that. What I am going to share with you today are some of the vital elements that should be included within your website if you want it to create more bookings for you. Your website needs to be more than just an online brochure, which is why I want to help ensure that it engages your visitors and guides them through all your information whilst capturing their details along the way, enabling you to keep in touch with them after they've gone. Now, you may want to keep notes as we go through everything, but as always, I've got a great freebie for you. I've put together a website features checklist for you to download and work through step by step. Not only is it a checklist to follow to make sure your website's feature packed, but I also dive even deeper into what you need to do to ensure your website makes your business stand out from others, giving you a competitive edge. So you can grab that checklist at puttingheadsonbeds.com/004 download. So let's dive in. I'm going to share 10 things that you need to do to your website to boost bookings. And the first one, step 1, is to make sure your website always focuses on your guests. As I've already shared, your website is usually the first stage in building the guest experience. And the biggest mistake most accommodation providers make is that their website focuses on them and not on their guests. Just carry out this little exercise when you finish this podcast, because it's usually quite a good indication of how much you really focus on your guests. Have a look at your website and mark how many times you make the mistake of using the word we or our. So, for example, we offer comfortable rooms. We pride ourselves on delicious breakfasts. We're located just a short walk from the beach. Print off your web pages, get a highlighter pen and mark through every time you say we or our. Because if there are several occasions you need to act fast, because your website should not be about you. You need to change those sentences to focus on your guests. So, for example, you should be saying, your comfort is our utmost priority. or you can enjoy delicious, freshly prepared breakfasts, or just take a short walk and you'll find yourself on miles of golden sand. So just carry out that exercise once you've finished. Your website needs to explain to your potential guests exactly how you're going to give them exactly what they're looking for, how you're going to give them excellent value for money, how you're going to look after them throughout their stay and help them to have a fantastic experience. It needs to explain how you will completely exceed their expectations. Your average website visitor will spend about 6 seconds looking at your homepage, and in that time they'll decide whether or not to investigate further. 6 seconds? That's hardly time to read your welcome text, let alone all your carefully worded features and benefits. So it's vital that you capture your visitors' attention quickly and direct them to take action. You need to ensure that the information in the first fold of your homepage is so interesting and relevant to them, and is also essential that you say enough to grab their attention straight away. So use your homepage as a summary page that highlights your benefits to your target market and show them you offer exactly what they're looking for. It's really important that the text that you use on your website is descriptive, persuasive, and easy to read. But more importantly than that, it needs to talk the language of your target market. Now, if you don't know exactly who your target market is or who your ideal guest is, then you need to put in the work to identify them. Only then will you be able to use this information to ensure you're talking directly to your ideal guests and speaking their language. You will need to tell them exactly how you offer all the benefits that they're looking for in the first 6 seconds that they're on your website. Now, in the free workbook, the first exercise will help you to work out what you need to be saying on your homepage to ensure that your website does not drive visitors away to your competitors. Step number 2 is that you need to ensure every page on your website produces a result. Every single page is there for a purpose. It's not there just to look pretty. And this is a massive area that so many business owners don't even think about. You have to decide what result you want when someone lands on your website and what you want each page to do. So let's look at your homepage as an example. Do you want it to send the reader to a different page on your website? Do you want to have something on there that gets people to sign up, maybe a free guide or a special offer? Do you want it to make them pick up the phone and call you or click a button to book straight away? You need to think about what the value of each page is, and you need to decide what job each page has to do. So, for example, if you own a B&B, your room page needs to show potential guests exactly what sort of room they'll be staying in if they book with you. It should detail the standard of accommodation on offer, the furnishings and the fittings within the rooms, the size and the cleanliness of the en-suites, all as a minimum. But your things to do page would need to show potential guests how they could spend their time while staying at your place. It needs to tell them how easy it is to get to different places and give them a sneak preview of what's on offer. If there are a whole host of things to do for guests during their stay, then it might be easier if you help them discover what might be of interest by providing all the information in categories. So, for example, houses and gardens, villages and towns, local tourist attractions, local walks, eating out, shopping. If you actually break it down into categories, they'll be able to see very quickly what matches what they like to do. Now, again, I dive deeper into this into my freebie in my website features checklist, so don't forget to download it and work through it step by step. Step number 3 is to recognise that a picture tells 1,000 words. It is vital that you have photographs on your website of everything you offer. And I don't just mean a shot of a bed and a headboard here, or a view of your establishment from the front. Please be a little different and be more creative here. You need photographs of everywhere. Potential guests will want to see pictures of both inside and outside of your establishment, as well as photographs of individual rooms. You also need to include photographs of the outdoor space and the public areas and even the car park if it's a good one. Great photographs will really make your website stick in potential guests' minds, and it will also help to eliminate their fears of any nasty surprises. But it's not just potential guests that want to see photos, because your current guests love to see them too. If you've exceeded someone's expectations during the stay, the first thing they often do when they go back home or when they're back at work is to go straight to your website and show everybody else how fab the place they stayed at was. Word of mouth marketing. It really is one of the best marketing pillars you have. So having great looking photographs on your website can really enhance that. And also, it's really important that you use genuine and up-to-date photos. There is nothing worse than someone expecting the quality and standard that they see on your website only to find actually the photos were taken 10 years ago. Or even worse, and I have seen this on several occasions, that the photos weren't actually taken at your establishment, but stock images have been used. Whatever you do, do not make that mistake. I wonder how many things have changed in your place since the photographs on your website were taken. Time and again, I hear business owners telling me that they keep meaning to update their photos, but they just haven't had a chance. If this is you, do not put it off any longer. Do it now, because it might be the difference of you getting a booking or your competitor getting it. Potential guests are always going to be worried whether or not your photographs paint a true picture of the current condition of your establishment. So put their minds at ease by putting a note at the bottom of each photograph, just detailing the date it was taken, so the readers know that they really are up-to-date photos. It doesn't have to be big text. You could put it in small text. You could even almost watermark it, but it really will make the difference. And obviously, I cannot emphasise strongly enough the importance and worthwhile investment of having professional photographs taken, because not only will they help you to create bookings via your website, not only will they help you to make sure your business stands out from the crowd, but you will use them again and again in all of your marketing material, and you'll recoup the investment in no time at all. Step number 4 is to make sure you introduce yourself properly on your website. I see hundreds, and I mean hundreds, of accommodation websites who either don't have an About Us page at all, or if they do, it doesn't even contain a picture of the owners on it, let alone the rest of the team. It's vital that you have nice, welcoming photos of you and your team members. Ensure you've got great head and shoulder shots of everyone and upload them to your About Us page. And as well as great photos, introduce yourself and your staff in words too. Briefly detail your roles and responsibilities as well as relevant experience. Build the relationship by sharing some personal information too. Nothing too heavy, but something simple, even like your favourite local restaurant or hidden local gem. By letting potential guests get to know you a little bit more, it builds a relationship between them, you and your staff, and it will help make your guests feel instantly at ease before they even check in. And shout about your achievements. Let potential guests know that you are an expert in your field and demonstrate how you and your team will create a positive guest experience for them, because that will put you leaps ahead of your competitors. Don't be afraid or too modest to shout about your achievements and successes, because they will help potential guests to feel reassured that they will be in safe, capable hands if they book with you. Work through the exercise in the workbook to ensure that you are building a relationship with your website visitors from the very beginning. Don't forget, you can download that at puttingheadsonbeds.com/004 download. Step number 5 is to create a special offers page on your website. Special offers and packages are a great way to offer value for money and to encourage people to book longer stays with you. It's essential that you have a promotional page on your website, as it really will help you to attract more guests. This page needs to include details of all the offers or short break deals you offer throughout the year, as well as your loyalty and recommendation schemes. However, everybody's doing offers and packages, including your competitors. So you need to make yours stand out from the crowd and work for you without devaluing your offering. When you offer your guest packages, it means you know exactly what you're providing and exactly how much it's going to cost you. And they know exactly what they're getting and exactly how much it's going to cost them. In the checklist, I share my 5 top tips to creating perfect special offers, so make sure you check that out. So, step number 6 is to share what people say about you. Testimonials from your guests are such a powerful marketing tool. Whilst you can say many things about you and your establishment in your marketing material, guest testimonials and reviews have far more credibility than anything you can write. Anyone considering staying with you will look for testimonials on your website from people who already have first-hand experience of staying with you. As a minimum, it's essential that you have a separate page on your website detailing what previous guests have said. And you need to be creative as possible and make sure that your feedback page is captivating and exciting. Now, my very first podcast, episode 1, is all about how to gather and present powerful testimonials on your website. So if you haven't checked that out yet, then I highly recommend that you listen into that episode. That's episode 1. Your next step, step 7, is to introduce video to your website. Quite simply, video is completely changing the way we market our businesses. One video clip on your homepage can increase your bookings by as much as 30%. So just imagine what several videos around your website could do. You simply need to get recording. But I know what you're saying. But Steph, what can I record? Well, firstly, video each of your rooms. Stand in the corner of a room and pan the video around the room. Now, it really doesn't have to be a professionally produced video for people to see and understand the quality of what you offer. You know, if you've got a great view out of a window, video that too. In an ideal world, you just provide a very simple narration as you're going around, welcoming the viewer and explaining some of the things that you're showing them. So as you're videoing a room, you could say, as you can see, this room benefits from a lovely super king size bed and Egyptian cotton linen and a comfortable seating area in the window where you can relax at the end of the day. Or if you're videoing your cottage and the lounge in your cottage, you could say, I'm just showing you the lounge where you can relax at the end of each day in front of a log fire. But don't just video your rooms. Like photographs, video the whole of your establishment, the large car park, the lovely garden, everything. And again, each time, just provide a short narration. This doesn't need to be complicated, and you don't even have to just wing it when it comes to narration. There is a great free teleprompter tool called Teleprompter Lite, and I'll put a link to it in the show notes. You can prepare your script and download it onto your iPad or iPhone and read from the teleprompter whilst you video. Obviously, the words don't show up in the video itself, but it just helps you to stay on track when it comes to doing the narrative. It's an amazing tool, and as I say, it's free, so I seriously recommend you check this out. And also, as well as your own establishment, get out into the local area and video the beautiful countryside or the local beach or local tourist attractions. Honestly, the more short videos you can produce to promote your area, the better. And video yourself. If you're confident enough, then stand or sit in front of the camera and talk. Talk to the viewers as if they're there in front of you. Talk to them on a personal level. Chat with them. You could do a video telling people what events are happening next month. You could share news about the local area. You could do a video showing people the recent improvements you've made. You could share stories. It only has to be a 1 or 2 minute video each time, and Teleprompter Lite can help make it so easy. One thing I'd say here is remember at the end of every video you create, you need to include a clear call to action. So tell the viewer to pick up the phone and call you and make the reservation. Or tell them to click the book online button now. Videoing yourself does take a bit of time getting used to, and I know many of you will hate the idea of being on camera. And I also know that, unfortunately, this will stop you from producing any videos. But if this is the case, it might help if you get someone to interview you and simply video the interview. This is so much easier to do because you're talking to the person interviewing you and not directly at the camera. Just pop the camera on a tripod, write a short script and get the interviewer to ask you some questions. You'll need to be relaxed and as casual as possible, but this is a really good way of getting across your message. So make it as engaging as you can and show your personality. And of course, it goes without saying that you need to video your guests too. At every opportunity, ask for video testimonials. I cannot tell you how much they will help you to increase bookings. Don't be afraid of asking your guests to give you a short testimonial before they leave. Again, if you check out my first podcast, episode 1, in there I share 3 questions that you need to ask when doing a video testimonial. Now, not all guests will want to be videoed, but you only need 1 or 2 great video testimonials on your website to help you seriously increase bookings. So when you've got all your videos together, maybe quickly edited them, you then need to upload them onto your website. And they need to be dotted around the whole website because you never know which page someone's going to land on. And always include a call to action underneath each video to encourage people to click on them. So, for example, you could say, click here to get a sneak preview. Or watch this video and discover exactly what's on offer. Or you could put, find out what John had to say about his recent stay. Create that intrigue. Now, the only exception to this will be the main video on your homepage because this needs to be on autoplay. So when visitors land on your website, it starts playing automatically because it's proved that this increases bookings even more. And then when all the videos are on your website, you then need to upload them to your YouTube channel, your Facebook page, your LinkedIn page, or your social media channels. And then when that's done, then you need to start promoting them through email and in all your other advertising material. Imagine how powerful it would be if in an advert in, say, your local tourist guide, you could just put in that advert, take a tour inside Brambles B&B. Simply visit www and your website. Now again, use the free checklist to make sure you work through all the steps necessary. So step 8. Step 8 is to make it really easy for people to book. One thing I see time and time again on websites is that the business owners are making it really difficult for potential guests to make an inquiry or a booking. So often their phone number's hidden within the website. Maybe it's on a contact us page right at the back of the website. Or sometimes it's at the bottom of the page in really small writing in the footer, making it really difficult to find. Your phone number should always be clearly displayed on the top right hand corner of every single page because you have to make it as easy as possible for someone to pick up the phone and make a booking. If your guest has to go looking for your number, to be honest, chances are they'll go looking at your competitor's website instead. But what happens if you're not available to answer that call when they make it? Statistics show that 70% of callers will hang up if they hear your answering machine without leaving a message. And obviously everyone hangs up if they get your engaged tone. It's a known fact that for whatever reason, you will miss up to 25% of your incoming calls. And with every missed call potentially being a missed booking, you've lost a chance to increase your profits further. And in addition, what impression does an unanswered phone give to new and existing guests? A phone call is often the first time someone comes into contact with you, and how that call is handled has a big impact on their perception of you and your establishment. You need to ensure that every call gets answered. And if you don't have a dedicated person to answer your phone, then organise a call answering service. Most companies will offer a range of services from acting as your permanent receptionist to simply answering your calls when your phone's engaged or busy. Using a call answering service will cost a lot less than you think. And I'm going to put some links in the show notes to a couple of companies that both I and my clients use. Now, if you really can't afford the services of a call handling company, then please make sure the message on your answer phone encourages people to actually leave a message. Say something like, hello, this is Brambles B&B. Please don't hang up. We're currently with guests at the moment, but your call is important to us. So please leave your name and telephone number and we'll call you back as soon as we're free. And then make sure that you call them as soon as you can. Remember, if you don't answer your calls, your competitors will. And while we're talking about making it easy for people to contact you by phone, you also need to make it easy for people to email you with an inquiry. And again, so many business owners choose to make this difficult. They hide behind the safety of an email inquiry form because they believe it prevents spam. You know, if it's a barrier to spam, then it is also a barrier to potential guests. And having to fill in all their details into a form puts a lot of people off contacting you. You need to have your email address clearly and prominently displayed at the top of every page and make it a simple clickable link. Because this will ensure that even the most timid of potential guests will contact you and not your competitor. Make sure you tell website visitors at different points throughout your website to get in touch. So just say, call us now on, and give your number and say we're ready to take your call. Or make sure you're saying things like email us with your questions, we're here to help. Step 9 is to make sure you capture every visitor's details. So many accommodation providers fail to recognise the importance of capturing the information of anyone browsing their website. They fail to move prospects along their sales funnel, driving them closer to the booking. And this means they're missing a great opportunity to keep in touch with potential guests and to remind them why staying with them is a good idea. You have to ensure people don't leave your website before they've given you their email address. And how do you do that? You have to encourage them to sign up or opt in. You simply need to dangle the right carrot in front of the right people to engage and persuade them to swap their email address for your information. Now, you've probably seen the standard sign up for our newsletter, sign up box on websites, but seriously, I wouldn't recommend you using that because it's really ineffective. Instead, I recommend that you offer them a free guide to the best places to eat out locally, or an ebook of 101 things to do in your local area. Or you could even offer them a voucher for a discount off their stay, or the chance of a free upgrade. Remember to always be creative with your offering and ensure that you make it engaging and interesting. It's got to be something that will make them want to sign up. So whatever it is you offer, make sure it's of real interest, relevant and of value to your potential guests. Now, what I actually recommend is that you have several different sign-up boxes through the pages of your website, all offering different things. What might be of interest to one potential guest might not be of interest to another. And this way you cover all the avenues. Once you've got your visitor into the lead stage of your sales funnel, then you start building relationships. Even if the guest doesn't book straight away, it doesn't mean they won't book. So you need to keep building a relationship that will ensure you are their first choice when they start looking for accommodation in the future. And when you communicate with them, they're actually more likely to pay attention to what you say because they've already raised their hands to say they're interested in visiting you or the area you're located in. They are one step closer to become a guest of yours. And as I've shared before, it's a known fact that 80% of bookings aren't made until the 10th, the 12th, to be honest with you, from my experience, the 14th time you contact someone. And yet most accommodation providers stop after the first contact. They'll do an email inquiry response and that's it. Whatever you do, don't assume that just because someone doesn't book with you immediately that they've taken their business elsewhere. You just need to keep getting in touch and you need to keep doing that longer than your competitors do. And then we're at the final step, step 10. And that's that you need to always measure, analyse and improve your website. It's essential that you measure the performance of your website at all times. And there's one really great way of doing this, Google Analytics. If you are serious about growing your business, if you are serious about attracting more guests and increasing bookings through your website, then you have to be serious about Google Analytics. All you have to do to get Google Analytics plugged into your website is to drop in the free code that they provide or get your website designer to do it for you. And then from that point, you're up and running. And then you need to regularly evaluate your website traffic and be smarter and more strategic with each of your marketing initiatives. Using Google Analytics really will provide you with the tools required to understand how well your website is performing. It will give you fresh insights into how visitors use your website, how they arrived on your site, and how you can keep them coming back. So you need to sign up to Google Analytics today if you haven't already done so. You know, it is completely free of charge and it provides a wealth of data, including things like where people visiting your site have come from. Did they come from Google or Facebook or from a third-party site? It will tell you things like the top keyword searches that they actually have typed in to get to your site, the most popular pages on your website, the time spent on your website, and even how long people have spent on each individual page. It will tell you the bounce rate of visitors. That's how quickly people leave your site. And that's really important because if the bounce rate is very high, then you need to be saying something different on your site to keep them there. It will tell you things like the number of new visitors, the number of repeat visitors. And it'll also tell you what page were people on when they left your site. I'll put a link to Google Analytics in the show notes, so please, if you don't already have it in place, get it organised as quickly as you can. Phew, I've covered a lot. I've shared the 10 things that you need to do to your website to help create more bookings. And as I said, to help ensure you implement everything that I've shared with you today, I've created a free downloadable website features checklist, and you can get that at puttingheadsonbeds.com/004 download. So thank you for joining me again today. I will speak to you again in 2 weeks' time. The next episode, I'm actually going to be covering your unique selling proposition, your USP, and how you can identify that and use it to make sure that you and your business stand out from the crowd. But until then, have a good couple of weeks. Thanks for joining me, and I'll speak to you soon.
And that's a wrap for this week's show. Thanks for listening to the Putting Heads on Beds podcast. Make sure you visit us at creatingbookings.com.